Opening music fades in at the low, suspenseful hum. The camera drifts across a dimly lit studio. The host's voice cuts through the silence, calm yet heavy. Ladies and gentlemen, what was meant to be just another easy night in late-night television turned into something no one could have imagined. Mark Wahlberg walks out onto Jimmy Kimmel's stage. The crowd cheers, lights flash, the band plays him in. He's smiling, confident, looking every bit the movie star. Kimmel greets him warmly, but there's something off. A tension hiding under the jokes, the applause, the small talk. Mark sits, the cameras roll, the audience laughs. And then it happens. Kimmel cracks a joke, harmless at first glance. Something about how Hollywood loves a good redemption story, about Wahlberg's born-again tough guy image. The audience laughs, but Wahlberg doesn't. His grin falters, his jaw tightens. For a split second, he just stares at Kimmel. The air in the studio changes. The laughter fades into a thick silence. Even Kimmel looks uncertain now. "You think that's funny, Jimmy?" Wahlberg finally says. Calm voice, but his eyes, cold, sharp, unblinking, say everything. The audience shifts in their seats. Some chuckle nervously, thinking it's a bit, but it's not. There's no cue card for this, no script. Just raw, uncomfortable reality, live on national TV. Behind the cameras, a producer gestures wildly for a cut to commercial. Kimmel shakes his head, signaling to keep rolling. Maybe he thinks he can turn it around. Maybe he wants the moment. But the tension keeps building, and Wahlberg leans forward again, his tone now low and dangerous. "You've been taking shots at people like me for years," he says. "You think it's all just jokes, huh?" Kimmel starts to respond, half laughing, half defensive. But before he can finish, Wahlberg raises a hand. The crowd gasps. The cameras zoom in. The moment stretches, electric, real, unpredictable. And then the feed cuts. Black screen, the audience at home freezes. The studio goes silent. Nobody knows what just happened. The host's voice returns, quieter now, almost a whisper. And that's when everything changed. The studio lights flickered slightly as the cameras came back on. You could feel the air had thickened, tense, heavy, like everyone was holding their breath. Mark Wahlberg sat rigid, jaw clenched, eyes locked on Jimmy Kimmel. The usual laughter and applause were gone. Even the band had fallen silent. Let's talk about the movie, Kimmel said, trying to steady the mood. But his smile looked forced, nervous. Mark didn't budge. "You wanted to talk about me, right? About how people like me aren't supposed to make it here." His voice was sharp, echoing off the studio walls. Kimmel gave a small laugh, the kind that tries to defuse a bomb. "Hey, come on, Mark, it's just a joke." But Wahlberg cut him off. "No, it's not just a joke, Jimmy. You sit behind that desk, you take shots at people's lives, their faith, their past, and you hide behind comedy. You think that's brave?" The crowd murmured. Phones went up. Some whispered that they'd never seen anything like this. The camera operator hesitated, unsure whether to zoom in or cut away. Producers exchanged worried glances behind the curtain. Kimmel tried to respond, his tone shifting from humor to frustration. "You've been in this business long enough to know how this works. Everyone gets roasted. It's entertainment." Mark leaned closer, voice lower now, filled with conviction. "No, Jimmy, it's control. You make fun of the people you can't understand, and you keep the ones who play along. But I don't play along anymore." The tension was unbearable. The audience didn't dare clap. Kimmel blinked rapidly, looking toward his crew for help, but no one moved. Finally, Wahlberg stood up. Not dramatically, just calm, deliberate. "You wanted real? This is real," he said, stepping away from his chair. Security began to move from the shadows. Kimmel's voice cracked slightly as he said, "Mark, sit down, we're live." Wahlberg stopped mid-stage, turned back toward Kimmel and said, "Maybe that's the problem. You think it's all just a show." And then the cameras glitched. The feed froze for a second before cutting to an emergency commercial break. The internet would later say the audience sat in stunned silence for nearly 30 seconds before the lights went dark, because no one, not even the producers, knew what was coming. Next, the moment the screen went black, the world lit up. Within minutes, clips of the heated exchange between Mark Wahlberg and Jimmy Kimmel began circulating online. Different angles, audience cell phone videos, leaked behind-the-scenes shots. It all flooded social media before the network even had time to react. Hashtags exploded. Wahlberg walkout, Jimmy Kimmel clash, Jimmy truth on air. News anchors scrambled to make sense of it. Commentators on every side of the political spectrum had an opinion. Some said Wahlberg lost his temper, a celebrity meltdown caught live. Others called it courage, a man finally speaking against the hypocrisy of Hollywood. By morning, late-night comedy had become a national debate. On conservative networks, analysts praised Wahlberg for standing up for faith and working-class values. On liberal talk shows, voices accused him of grandstanding for attention. But everyone agreed on one thing: something real had happened, and nobody could script that. The network released a carefully worded statement. Due to an unforeseen technical issue, last night's interview with Mark Wahlberg was cut short. Both parties have since resolved the matter privately, but insiders whispered that it was far from resolved. Studio staff were reportedly ordered not to speak about what they saw. Audience members were asked to sign non-disclosure forms before leaving the set. Meanwhile, Wahlberg's PR team went silent. No interviews, no posts, no appearances. That silence only made the story grow louder. Behind the scenes, anonymous sources started leaking details. One claimed Kimmel had been pushing Wahlberg for weeks with loaded jokes. Another said producers wanted the confrontation to boost ratings. The truth became murky, twisted through speculation and fear. Our host's voice cuts in, steady and dramatic, but the question everyone missed was simple. Why did they cut the feed so suddenly? What did the cameras capture that we weren't supposed to see? Then late one night, something surfaced online. A short audio clip labeled unedited studio feed. It was grainy, distorted, but you could make out voices. Angry ones, heated, and one sentence stood out clearly. Mark Wahlberg's voice, firm and furious. You people think you can own everything, even truth. The world stopped. The internet erupted. Because if that audio was real, it meant the confrontation didn't end when the cameras stopped. It had only just begun. The leaked audio dropped like a bomb. No flashy intro, no official source, just a raw file shared online at midnight titled The Real Wahlberg-Kimmel Tape. Within hours, it spread across social media, news channels, and podcasts. Everyone wanted to know what really happened after the cameras cut. The recording begins with chaos, muffled voices, studio noise, a few gasps from the crowd. Then Kimmel's voice, strained, defensive. You're overreacting, Mark. It was just a segment. Wahlberg fires back, his voice shaking, not from fear, but from anger. You don't get it, Jimmy. You people twist everything. You make fun of faith, family, hard work, things you'll never understand because you've never had to fight for anything real. The crowd noise dies down in the background. You can hear producers trying to calm both men. Someone, it sounds like a stage manager, whispers, "We're still rolling," before the mic cuts for a few seconds. When it comes back, Wahlberg's tone changes. It's quieter, more emotional. You think this city owns everyone, but it doesn't own me anymore. That line hit America like lightning. Commentators dissected every syllable. Was he exposing something? Calling out Hollywood hypocrisy? Or was this just a celebrity losing control? The host of our show leans forward, voice trembling slightly. That line wasn't just defiance, it was rebellion. The next section of the tape is even darker. You can hear Kimmel mutter something, barely audible, about who pays the bills. Wahlberg snaps back instantly. Exactly. You just said it. It's all about who owns who. Silence. Then footsteps. Chairs scrape. Someone shouts, "Cut the feed." But it's too late. Hollywood insiders later confirmed that multiple network executives were in the control room that night, watching it unfold in real time. One of them allegedly ordered that no part of the exchange be aired, but a junior technician, disgusted by what he heard, leaked the raw audio weeks later. The host looks into the camera, her voice low. And what came next? was even more explosive. Because Mark Wahlberg didn't just walk away that night. He made a promise. He pauses, letting the silence stretch. A promise that he would never let Hollywood silence him again. When the dust finally settled, Hollywood wasn't the same. The morning after the tape leaked, every major network went into panic mode. Talk shows scrubbed their archives, producers tightened control, and agents whispered warnings. Don't say too much. Don't take sides, but it was too late. The Wahlberg-Kimmel altercation had already escaped the studio walls and ignited something far bigger than television. Mark Wahlberg broke his silence first. He didn't go on social media. He didn't hire a PR team. Instead, he released a raw, unedited video from his home. No lighting, no makeup, no script. I didn't lose my temper, he said calmly. I found my voice. I'm tired of being told what I can and can't say. I'm tired of Hollywood pretending to speak for everyone when it doesn't even listen to half the country. That single clip shattered the internet. Within hours, millions had watched. Some praised him as a man standing up against an elite culture that mocks ordinary values. Others accused him of grandstanding, calling it a calculated stunt. But deep down, people knew something real had happened. Kimmel responded days later on his own show. His tone was careful, rehearsed, almost apologetic. I never meant to disrespect Mark or anyone's beliefs, he said, glancing off camera as if reading from a teleprompter. The audience applauded, but it sounded forced, hollow. Viewers noticed the fear in his eyes, fear of saying the wrong thing, of losing control of the narrative. Our host's voice cuts in again. This wasn't just about two celebrities clashing. It was about the machine behind them, the tension between authenticity and control, between faith and cynicism, between Hollywood's illusion and America's truth. Clips roll, headlines, debates, divided commentators. The nation is split right down the middle. For some, Wahlberg became a symbol of integrity. For others, he was reckless, dangerous. But everyone agreed on one thing. Nothing about late-night TV would ever feel the same. And then the camera zooms in on the host. The music fades to a soft hum. But what if, the host says quietly, this wasn't spontaneous at all? What if the entire confrontation was orchestrated, not by Wahlberg, not by Kimmel, but by someone higher up? The screen flickers, static crackles, and the final words echo through the silence. Because in Hollywood, nothing goes off script, unless it's meant to. Before you click away, pause for a second and really think about what you just watched. Was this a spontaneous moment of truth, or a carefully crafted illusion? Did Mark Wahlberg finally break free from Hollywood's control, or did he just play his part in a bigger game? These are the questions that keep echoing long after the cameras stop rolling. If this story made you think, if it made you question what's real, who controls the message, and how deep the manipulation runs, then you're exactly the kind of viewer this show is for. We don't chase gossip. We dig for truth. We expose what others edit out. So here's what I need from you. Hit like if you believe truth still matters. Leave a comment below. Tell us whose side you're on, Team Wahlberg or Team Kimmel. And most importantly, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the story isn't over. There are still voices to hear, tapes to uncover, and secrets the networks won't touch. This isn't just entertainment, it's revelation. And you're part of it now.